And Griffin Park is completely silent. The only activity, a sleepy old fox enjoying a moment in the sun. But in a few hours, the scene will be transformed. There'll be thousands of fans cheering on the bees. There'll be policemen, there'll be stewards, there'll be St. John's ambulance. There'll be programmes to sell and food to prepare. It takes a lot more than 22 players and officials to make a game happen. At every home match, the first person to arrive at Griffin Park is safety officer Jill Dawson. She'll have checked out the stands the day before, but she does it again to be sure. Jill is a firm believer in routine.
Initially I'd go around making sure that everything looked in order, opening up areas, turning on all the CCTV cameras, making sure that they're functional, just making sure that the public address system's operating, the lights were all working, that the emergency lights would all be working in the event that power failure, that there would be emergency light backup. It's really looking at everything that is going to entail use by the public, that it's a safe environment for them to come into, that there's no rubbish lying around, just generally making sure that it's a safe environment for everybody and hopefully come in, enjoy a game and go home having enjoyed the afternoon.
What's new? What's that?
Right, championship book,
Right.
£10.
Written by?
Written
Is that the one by
by
PG?
Peter. Peter's written that one.
The club shop is
So,
managed by
20
Anne
years,
Stanford.
that's one by Dave
During the
Friday.
week, she's by herself, but on match days it can be hectic and she needs a lot of help. Amongst other things, everyone needs to
That's
know
the
about
HG. Oh,
new
giving
stock
discounts on
and
books.
changes in prices.
We do. On
Yeah.
everything now.
Yeah, it's on everything except for the fanzines and
the
the
programmes.
programmes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anne isn't the only one gearing up for the rush of fans. Throughout the stadium there's feverish activity, not least in the kitchens. Around 3,000 programmes are sold every game, one for every 2 supporters. The sellers need to be well organised and are positioned all around the ground. They're busy right up to kick-off.
Very busy, yeah, they're busy from literally the minute the doors open up until 3:05, or if we sell out, of course, beforehand, that they're obviously finished. But they work till 3:05, they then come back, count their money, they're then on duty again if necessary at half-time to sell inside the pitch perimeter. And again, after the match, if there's any left, they sell at the 2 major exits.
St. John's Ambulance, meanwhile, are preparing the first aid room. Nothing is left to chance. They have 11 people on duty at every game. At the same time, the police and stewards are getting a full briefing. Dave Bond, the Deputy Mayor of Ealing, has been Chief Steward for 25 years. Like almost everyone who works at the club, he's a lifelong supporter.
My father, my grandfather all supported Brentford, and all the local kids. We came here. We came here and watched football every week. It was what kids did then. You went and watched your local professional football club. I think I was in my mid-20s when I thought I'd get more involved, and I first of all joined the club. I came here to be a turnstile operator, and they said, well, no, you want to be a steward? And within a short period of time, I was the chief steward, and I've been the chief steward for 25 years, and we've gone through all the various changes in football, you know, with the Popplewell inquiry, the Taylor report, and the safety in the sports grounds after Hillsborough, and so on and so forth. So I didn't ever think that I'd be here all that time, but here I am, still here today, 25 years on. Dare I say it, I wouldn't cross the road to see Man United play Chelsea. I've got no interest in it. To me, football is a game of passion, and I'm passionate for this football club. It's not really to do with football, it's to do with the club, it's the tradition, following your family, what your forefathers done. It's very important, and this club has been important to me. And so it's part of me. It's a part of my family, and obviously I wouldn't even dream of watching anyone else. You know, when I was first the chief steward here, I virtually had a few Christian names down on the back of a fag packet. Now, of course, today it's different. People have to sign in. All the paperwork is there to be inspected by the various people from the various agencies that come to the club. And it is very, very rigorous, the training and what is expected of people. The majority of our stewards, Brentford stewards, are loyal supporters who see it not only as perhaps a way to earn a few pounds, but also they feel, I think, that they're part of the club, they're doing something, they're behind the scenes and doing a good job for the club, which they do.
The players arrive between 12:30 and 1. They have tea and toast before getting changed. They watch TV and swap the odd joke. But there's not a great deal of talking. Their minds are on the game ahead. The turnstiles open at 1:45, although the majority of fans arrive much later. Those who do get there early can see the team warming up and collect autographs.
They'll come and do it.
The team are joined by the mascots. These are normally younger fans, but Brentford is one of the few clubs which lets adults have a go too. This is the second time for Bees fanatic Roy Studd, aged 49.
I've been a Brentford supporter for something like 32, 35 years, and it's something that I've enjoyed doing before. It's a terrific thrill to lead a team that you support out on the pitch, and not many clubs do it for adults, and it's a great honour, I think. I think the roar of the crowd when the players come out, and to be part of the team on the field, it's really exciting. And it's difficult to describe. The old adrenaline starts to rush. Although it's a fairly small club, that's part of the joy of it, because it is a sort of family, and you feel that you belong because you recognise people who work here, and the team has evolved, and I mean it's going through a great season at the moment, and to be part of it when it wasn't doing so well and really supporting them, I think you become embedded in it. And this is my leisure wear at home. My wife gets quite sick of me sitting and watching the telly with it on.
The official club mascot, Busby, is an even bigger fan than Roy, and as ever he's predicting a win for the home side. But he's just heard some devastating news. He's been dropped from the team, again.
Number 4, Robert Quinn. Number 5, Darren Powell. And number 6, Herman Priderson. Number 7, skipper, Paul Evans. Number 8, Gary Marr. Number 9, Lloyd Owusu. And number 10, Scott Partridge. Number 11, Andy Scott. And at number 12...
In Preston, the Bees are facing one of the toughest sides in the second division, and it soon becomes obvious that they've come for a result. But it's Brentford who score first in the 42nd minute. Scott Partridge gets on the end of a long ball despite a strong and illegal challenge just outside the box. But there's been drama off the field as well as on it. A Preston supporter has been spotted with a hip flask. It's a prohibited item and has to be confiscated. The fan has been hiding behind a pillar, which causes some concern, but he cooperates with the stewards and there's no harm done. He'll be able to collect the flask after the game. The drama continues on the pitch. Preston equalise from a corner in the 72nd minute. But the Bees reply instantly and the Preston celebrations are over almost before they've begun. Lloyd Owusu plays short to Scott Partridge, who taps it to Paul Evans just inside his own half. He spots the keeper off his line and rockets the shot over his head. 2-1 to Brentford, and Sky's undisputed goal of the month. Among the crowd of 7,100, Brentford's biggest of the season, are a number of blind supporters. They're provided with a commentary by a team of dedicated volunteers. In the box today, Jeff Cunningham and Mark Burridge.
Inside the Brentford half, but Powell dislodges the ball, knocks it forward, picked up by Graham Alexander, hits the ball towards the Brentford penalty spot. Up goes Partridge, neat header there, and gathered safely by the leaping Woodman, who Ushers his players further upfield, takes a look round, looks upfield, releases the ball from the edge of his area now. Gets a lot of height.
The scheme is the second oldest in the country and is greatly appreciated by fans like Dennis Cheffords.
Well, I mean, I get the excitement of the commentary, the thrill of the game. You see, it was a commentary that's like started coming. It is excellent. Well, it's no point in coming without, is it? I can't see the play.
It's not really that difficult. You have to appreciate that if you're trying to learn, you have to take tips from radio commentators like Alan Green. So my idea is to really try and visualise the pitch for the supporters. If anyone wearing a funny costume behind the goal, what the mascots are like and so on, you have to paint the picture for them. And of course you have to tell them where the ball is in play. And we also try and put one or two jokes or one or two puns in to make it light-hearted, just in case the game really isn't that exciting itself. It's always two at a time. You do sort of 10, 15 minutes, bring the other person in to get his view of it. It gives you time for a bit of a breather, and it gives possibly two perspectives on what's going out on the pitch. For me personally, it's one of the most important things I do in my life, and gives me a great lot of pleasure, because they're a fantastic bunch of people with great senses of humour, and you realise everything that you tell them is how they visualise the game. You'll go down at half-time and they'll say such and such is playing well and such isn't playing well, and how did so-and-so miss that chance, and you realise they've only got it from your own commentary, and it's a very humbling experience.
Preston equalise in the 80th minute and the game ends 2-2. Talking to reporters afterwards, Ron Nodes admits his players were lucky to get a point. The boss may not seem too happy, but there's little criticism from the fans.
It's the best football I've seen since the Stan Bowles era, really. And even then, it's possibly better than that, because here now, everybody seems to be on the same wavelength.
It's the money. It's the money. You brought in Ray Lewington and the backroom staff who've changed it all around. And also bringing in sort of like, we've never had international players for years to have games called off because of internationals.
As the supporters drift off, the players relax in the bar. They may not have won, but they've extended their unbeaten run to 23 games. The big question, of course, can it continue? A lot of things changed when Ron Nodes took over at Brentford. One of them was the training ground. It's now Street Court, a former private school with magnificent grounds off the M25 in Sussex. Brentford share the facility with Ron's former club, Crystal Palace. One side trains in the morning, the other in the afternoon, usually the Bees. Brentford's coaching team is made up of Ray Lewington, Terry Bullivant and Brian Sparrow. No one will deny they've done a great job improving skill levels and getting the players into shape. Ray, the first-team coach, is full of praise for Brentford's young squad. He says they've tremendous spirit and they're hard-working.
Got a very young side. I think 24 is the oldest outfield player. Well, Scotty maybe 26, 27, but most of them in the early 20s. So they're very fit naturally anyway. But they work extremely hard. I mean, we have to pull them up most of the time. We don't have to sort of keep behind them and nudging them on. They, you know, if you gave them 4 or 5 hours out here, they'd still be doing it. They just love playing football. Last year, we used to have 2 sessions with a break in between. This year, because we have to go around Crystal Palace, we usually start in the afternoons now. Most clubs will start in the morning. So it means that we have to combine the 2 sessions that we had before into one. And the way we do it is we have a technique session before the actual training starts, which Terry Bullivant takes. At the same time, there's a weight session going on with Brian Sparrow. And that's for the first hour. Now, that started as a voluntary thing. But now every single person does it, either one or the other, which is great. I mean, it's great for us that we haven't got to, you know, crack the whip and say you've got to do this. They've all come in, 1 or 2 started it, and since then they're all there. So before we even start training, they would have done an hour with whatever section they're in. In training, we just try to break it up. We always do, again, a technical session during training. Ron is very, you know, strong that we try and improve players in technique, you know, kicking with their poor foot, their touch. Added to that, we do a general thing where, you know, keeping the ball and you know, knowing how to make angles, etc., stuff like that. And also we've got the team play where we we try to bed in a system and do little and often on it, and so that everyone knows what they're doing come Saturday.
The Bees' run of success has been due in no small measure to a great batch of signings from non-league clubs. Striker Lloyd Owusu, signed from Slough, was last season's top scorer with 25 goals. Darren Powell, Player of the Year, is talked about as the next Sol Campbell.
His very first game that Ron took over the club was Hampton, which is a game we had to play. It was already set up in pre-season. We went to Hampton. He saw Powley play against us. How he did, I don't know, because I think we were 2 or 3-0 up at half-time. Literally went down and bought him at half-time in the very first game that we've been involved in the club. 15,000 quid, ends up the Player of the Year, and is being looked at now by Premier League clubs. He's come on leaps and bounds, got a great attitude, he's got all the natural qualities that you like in the centre half. He needs to tidy up with his kicking and control, but he knows that, he works hard at it. But a great talent. Lloyd Owusu, last year's top scorer, very similar, 25,000 from Slough. A lot of clubs have looked at him, hadn't taken the plunge. Ron always follows his instinct, signed him, ends up I think with 24 goals at the end of the season, top scorer. Martin Rowlands was the only player outside the nationwide first division to represent the nationwide league against the Italian league. Again, 45,000 from Farnborough. We ended up signing him after 2 trial games. And the last one, who never gets mentioned, but for me is a tremendous player, Gavin Mon, who's we bought from Hereford, who I think could be absolute top quality player. Again, like Martin, had been at a pro club, been at Wolves, I think, got released and slipped into non-league. We snapped him up, I think, for 50,000. I'm not sure exactly the fee, but for me, Gavin could go on to be a real top quality player.
At the start of last season, Ray says no one at the club expected to win the 3rd Division Championship at the first attempt. The team was playing well, but there was something missing.
The turning point undoubtedly was buying Paul Evans, who was the most natural captain you can get, and has since then gone on to great things with his long-range efforts. But even without his goal-scoring feats, he's a terrific captain, always talking to the players, and the lads accept him. He's only a young man, and the lads accept him, and he really knits everyone together. And Scotty Partridge, who's put us up front, we didn't really have someone who could play with their back to goal effectively. Scotty was the man, he come in, and I don't think either of them have finished on a losing side in the league yet, which, after 25 games is some achievement.
At Griffin Park, Paul Evans is known as Paul Better Than Pele Evans, and it's easy to see why.
Mullin for the Clarets, the referee once again. Second time he's been, that's it. That's the equaliser which we dreaded, and Brentford aren't unbeaten in 24 for nothing.
I mean, he's such a clean striker of the ball that he's capable of doing that. It's no fluke. He's quite capable of doing it. If he spots the keeper off his line, he's accurate enough, he's got enough power to lob the keeper from the halfway line. Incredible skill. But we have scored some incredible goals. I mean, back in the last year, the goals we were scoring were, some fantastic goals. And even this year, the two that Paul has scored, I mean, Andy Scott scored a goal that if it was a Brazilian, they'd have been talking about still. He controlled the ball high in the air with one foot and volleyed it in with the other. He made it look so simple that I think people didn't realise how technically good the goal was. And we've done that a lot. We've scored some really good goals. I think if anyone wants to come and watch us, they're sure that they're going to watch a team that's fit, organised, willing, and with some really outstanding individuals in the team.
But what everyone wants to know is, can they win promotion again this term?
Well, at the start of the season, I was convinced that this season would be used just to consolidate and take up a mid-table position. I thought we'd lose, quite a few, maybe get the odd 4 or 5-0 against us. But I underestimated our boys, and rather, sort of just consolidate. They've gone out there and really surprised people. At the moment we've played the top 2 in our division away from home, and neither have beat us. We've got 2 draws from it. And the one thing with us is we are very resilient. We're always going to score goals, and I truly believe that from this point, unless we're really unlucky, with suspensions and injuries, I think we've got a realistic chance, certainly of the playoffs.
The man with the job of finding players is Chief Scout John Griffin. He's been in the game a long time and made some great discoveries.
I don't know over the years, 30, 40, 50, but you can't remember them all. To be honest, Stevie Claridge comes to mind, who I took from Weymouth. Stan, as I say, Colin Moore came from Stafford Rangers. Andy Gray from College Hamlet. I don't know, it just goes on. There are a lot.
So what are the qualities he looks for in a player?
Ability. That's the only word. People ask me this question so many times. It's ability. You don't know what it is until you go to the game. I find lots of players at very low level non-league games. And the reason you do it, it's not because you're more talented than anyone else. People ask me why. I think it's because you go to the games. A lot of other scouts, good friends of mine, would like to sit at Highbury or sit at Loftus Road or Griffin Park or wherever. I'm quite happy to go to Tooting and Mitcham or Haverford West or wherever it might be that I might find a player. Sometimes you're bored to death when you get there. I've got to be honest, sometimes you go and the games are awful. But every now and again you spot one, it's a great feeling. It's a tremendous feeling when you do spot one. And then when you see where they go on, it's great. That's how you do it. I don't think I'm that much more talented than other people. I'm just willing to go to very strange games. You see it, sometimes you can see a player, and I've said it and other scouts have said it, and it is true. You can see a player run out onto the pitch and you just get a feeling. There's something about the boy, you can see his character, you just get a feeling. And I honestly cannot put my finger on it. I wish I could bottle it because I'd make a fortune getting other people to do the same. I don't know what it is, but you get a knack. I'm not too sure that most punters aren't the same. If I go to non-league games, I quite often go and talk to punters behind a goal, who are real dyed-in-the-wall non-league supporters. And they know. You ask them, they know who the best players are. So what's their judgment? No different than mine, I don't think.
Despite the popularity of football, he believes that standards are falling. But what's the reason?
I do honestly believe it's the fact that kids don't play football at a young level. I mean, when I started, you had 30 aside in the street where you had to do things in tight situation or get kick lumps out of. I think that's missing now. I honestly do believe that you don't grow up like that. You ask kids. I mean, I've got my own grandson who trains for Crystal Palace, who's only 8, who I love to death. But he's got 16 shirts of the highest quality, the best boots you could ever have. I mean, I think they're thoroughly sport now, and they don't do what we did as kids, and I think that's where they lose that skill level.
No matter how good a side are, they still need a quality surface to perform at their best. At Griffin Park, that's where groundsman Kevin Burke comes in. Kev normally enjoys his work, but last season there were serious problems with the pitch, and it was a frustrating time for him and his colleagues.
We had a lot of problems last season with the amount of rainfall we had from September right through till February, and the pitch couldn't cope with all the rain that was coming down. So we didn't have any drainage at the time, and underneath the pitch was very compact, and the water was just sitting on the top. It wouldn't drain away. We knew we had to get some sort of drainage into the pitch, and the way the pitch was, we knew we wouldn't be able to do it till the end of the season.
During the summer, a great deal of time and money was spent putting everything right.
They put drainage pipes across the pitch every 7 metres, and then after the drainage pipes were completed, they sand slit it. That was every metre going the length of the pitch. The only part of the pitch that hasn't got drainage in it is where they turf the touch lines, which is 3 metres in from each touch line. I'm quite happy with it at the moment. I'm never completely happy with it because I'm probably too critical, which isn't a bad way to be. You're always looking to improve it, but the way it stands at the moment, it's had something like 8 or 9 games on it, and it seems to be holding up quite well. After a game, I have the YTS lads out half-time and after a game divoting, which is a great help. I don't think any of them particularly like doing it, but it's a good help. And then you're literally slitting, rolling, depending on when the next game is. Yeah, you can spend 4 days getting a pitch ready for a game, and you can be really happy with it, and then after a game you've got to do exactly the same thing again, especially if it cuts up a bit. It can be a bit demoralising sometimes, but it's got a lot of benefits when the game's just about to kick off and the pitch looks nice. You feel that you've done a half-decent job on it.
Number 8, Gary Moore.
Peter Gillam also has a key role before kick-off. He's the matchday announcer, the man with the silken tones who puts the crowd in the mood.
And at number 12, once again.
I suppose my main job on a match day is obviously the PR. I go out to the pitch with a microphone and sort of try and form a link between the supporters here in the Turfs and the seats and the team and the football club and telling them what they do. I think it's important to be on the pitch rather than a voice on a microphone at the back of the stand that people don't know. I think, as I said, I've been around enough years now that people know me, but I think it's important that they can put a face to the voice. You know, I take the slings and arrows and have a bit of fun with the supporters and fall over in banana skins, things like that, but I don't mind. It's all part and parcel of it. But that's my main, on a match day, that's my main duty. On the press side, we have a press officer, on a match day press officer, who would do my sort of duties that I might do during the week and would look after the press. But it's really, it's what's happening out in the field, and I try and entertain in my own sweet way and try and get people involved with what's happening, because whilst they're here for the 90 minutes football, there's a lot of other things besides, and it's really getting the information over to them.
Peter wears many hats. He also edits the match programme and handles the press and media.
I get here about 9 o'clock in the morning. A lot of preparation with regards to the publicity and press side to make sure that all the passes being applied for are in place. And then we organise the programmes. I'm responsible for the match day programmes as well. So it's a case, obviously, during the week I've been putting that together, editing the programme, make sure everything's in place, organising it with the printers, accept delivery of that and make sure that the programmes are then dispensed in different areas of the ground. So that's the programme out the way, and then really it's helping the sales and marketing team as well, because I try and do a little bit of PR there, sort of welcome the guests into Stripes, as I say, along with Sam and Mike in sales and marketing. And I think that's important, you know, in fairness, I've got to know a lot of people over the years, and therefore it's just nice to welcome into Griffin Park. If they've come in a different, you know, a lot of the time they might stay in the church and sit in the seats, and once in a while they come into our corporate area, hospitality area, so I'd like to welcome them there and talk a bit of football before the game, before I go out and do my stint on the pitch. We'll send them a complimentary copy. Yeah, I'm sure they.
There's a lot more to producing the match programme than there appears. What photos to use, for instance.
We just get the okay from the keeper first, shall we, just in case he's not too happy about it. I think we've got a quality publication now. It does take a lot of time, I've got some good contributors to the programme, about 5 or 6 people who've been helping me for the last few years. Without them, the programme would be impossible. But they give their time freely. They write some excellent articles, and it's really a case of pulling that together, trying to come up with different ideas for editorials, ideas for design, layout, pictures. You know, it's a lot of work goes into it. But again, at the end of the day, it's when I see the product, I have to say, you know, I said myself, I'm very pleased with it. And this season, there've been a nice response from the supporters as well. So it's very easy probably to say, look, we've got a game on a Saturday, and therefore when you pick up the programme on a Tuesday, we can say this programme went to print before Saturday's game. I don't think supporters want that, not in this day and age, and it's important that we've got pictures on Saturday's game, that goes into Tuesday's game, that we get any information which changed on Saturday, league tables, anything needs to be in Tuesday's programme. Tuesday's programme needs to be up to date. It doesn't want to be Friday's news, it needs to be effectively Saturday's news and Monday's news, and it does entail working overnight. I've done that in the past, and no doubt do it in the future. But it's important that the programme on a Tuesday, probably people don't appreciate it, I don't know. But I know at the end of the day, when that programme is ready and available on a Tuesday, it is the right programme.
As a committed Brentford fan, Peter is delighted with the club's progress under Ron Nodes, and he's confident the team can win promotion again this season.
I feel we were ready, the way the team was put together in the 3rd division for the Championship. It was built with the 2nd division in mind as well. You know, it wasn't a case of building a team to get us up in the 3rd and now start again in the 2nd. I felt it was built to take us through the 2nd and into the 1st. And what I've seen of the football back in last season and this season, then I have no doubt whatsoever that we go straight through the 1st division.
But can the Bees go higher than Division 1? What's his dream for the club?
I'm actually in the middle of a dream at the moment, I think, of Brentford Football Club, without, you know, being a silly line, but I am. I think the football I'm appreciating and watching at the moment is the whole period, and what's happening at the moment is the best I've ever experienced in 40 odd years of supporting the club. So I'm in the middle of that dream.
Brentford was a pioneer of football in the community, and its scheme is the blueprint for many others throughout the country. The team of 30 full and part-time staff visits schools and sports centres throughout the boroughs of Ealing, Hounslow and Richmond. There are no fewer than 25 after-school clubs, like this one at the Russell Primary School in Petersham.
Does anyone know what the tendon's called that connects at the bottom? Achilles tendon. Okay.
Lee Doyle and his fellow coaches have been coming here for 2 years now with spectacular results. In their first year, the school team won a local knockout competition. The following year, they did the double, winning the league as well. Today, Lee is joined by Martin Vorovsky, a part-time professional, and by Ahmed Matoui, a former Moroccan under-21 international. The session begins with a vigorous warm-up.
Everybody on this white line, let's go, line up, last one up, does 10 Australian push-ups.
Lee has been involved in the community programme since it was launched 10 years ago.
We looked at all sorts of angles where you could bring or keep the doors of the football club open all week long, rather than just have it open on a match day. Something that's probably taken for granted these days, but then it was a fairly innovative scheme, and we looked at getting involved in schools and just taking the football club all over the borough. It was also, I think it's worth saying, that Ealing and Hounslow Council have been very, very supportive of the scheme right throughout, and they've supported it financially for 10 years, along with Brentford Football Club and the PFA. So with that type of infrastructure, then you've got a great chance of having a scheme that involves everybody in the community within a football club. What you're looking to do is to try and give somebody an opportunity of playing, whether they're male or female, whether they're able-bodied or disabled, to give them, they've got enthusiasm, and we're trying to provide the vehicle where they can have a great footballing experience and possibly carry that forward. So we, for instance, here at the school, we'd give everybody a chance of playing. Then we've got another rung, intermediate and advanced centres. We could offer them football there, and possibly they would go forward to the Centre of Excellence. But the main thing is to get as many people involved as possible in football and sporting activities.
The programme caters for all groups and is as much about girls as boys.
You have a look at the number of women spectating now at football matches. It's a great new area for development. If you look, if we look behind us, we've got over, nearly 20 girls playing football there. And there's no, I think now that if you look at America, they had the model sorted out probably earlier than England, where they've got women's football teams and girls' football teams, and the actual technical standard's excellent. You've now got that developing in this country, where you've got excellent standards of football for junior and senior teams, and Centre of Excellence is for women as well. So it's great to see that everybody's got a chance.
Looking around, it soon becomes clear that few children are wearing Brentford shirts. Does this bother Lee?
It does bother me. You couldn't actually physically go and put one on their back, but what we can do is offer them the opportunity of coming to Griffin Park and watching a match. And this school, for instance, would actually come along en masse to a match day and enjoy the day. And I think what children are realising now is that they can have two clubs. They can have their sort of Chelsea or whoever it might be. We see loads of Chelsea shirts, and there's nothing wrong with that. But they can also support Brentford without any feeling of disloyalty, and come along and actually physically support the team, and probably have a better chance of watching or getting tickets for the game at a more reasonable price. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And obviously, I think you've got to look as well at the hardcore supporters that have kept the club running and look after that side of things. But probably what we're looking at is the young supporters and the supporters of tomorrow.
The Castle Bar School for Special Needs Children in Ealing also benefits from the community football programme. Staff visit the school every Wednesday afternoon and provide coaching for years 5 and 6. The children look forward to the sessions and can hardly wait to begin. Head teacher David Perkins says they help in lots of ways.
I think we're the best in the world. Most of my staff, like me, are not footballers. And therefore it's probably quite difficult for us to get the same sort of enthusiasm into teaching football that somebody who is actually skilled at it would give the children. And the other thing is that the children appreciate having somebody different coming in to teach them. And the fact that they play for a professional football club in some sense or another is an added bonus, because these are real footballers that are coming in to talk about real football, as opposed to their teacher who teaches them English and maths and science and everything else. They just happen to be doing a football lesson. So there's lots and lots of benefits in that respect. Well, I think there's been a considerable benefit in the quality of the playground games of football that occur at lunchtimes and at playtime in the morning. Much more organised, much more prepared to give and take, because they are understanding the rules of sharing, the rules of passing. They're not so much individuals anymore. Some take it very seriously. Yes, we have an occasional injury caused by struggles for the ball. There's it is a serious business playing football, and which is good. But it's all taken in good heart. When occasionally a child will fall over and hurt themselves, they get up and carry on playing. And even the child with that's really got a pain in their leg will carry on playing football because it's important for the team. It's quite different the way that children play now compared to what they used to before this programme started.
To round off, the children are divided into 4 teams for a knockout competition. There are 3 Premier League sides and, of course, Brentford, the eventual winners. The players may lack some technical ability, but they make up for it with energy and commitment.
Brentford, Arsenal, Manchester United.
There's no less enthusiasm at the advanced school, although the atmosphere's a little more serious. Membership is by recommendation only. You have to be skilled and you have to be dedicated, although enjoyment is still the main object. Those who progress enough may go on to the School of Excellence, run by Barry Quinn, also here at Cranford Community Sports Centre. The man who coordinates the advanced school, Mike Carpenter, keeps a watchful eye on all the young players.
How do you think he's going to get more on that? More delivery? A rolling ball. So if you give me the ball back there, where do you want it?
Set left.
Where do you want it? On your left? So what's the call?
Set left.
Yes, play it into there. Can you get it first time? Deliver. Well done. Get our head on it. Well done. Let's have it again and see how we go with Tom. Give it into Tom. And set back, set left. Yes, whip it in. First time. Well done. Can you get the ball? Okay, go.
The advanced school was only started a couple of years ago.
It came about through, we were trying to develop links between the community scheme and the football club and the Centre of Excellence, which we have forged quite good links with them. In the advanced school, we offer a pathway to progression for players and coaches, where the players, if they show the excellence that it's demanded at a Centre of Excellence level, we put them up. If not, we've got a whole range of activities at the advanced school to help them develop as players. They get selected through our soccer schools during the holidays. They also get selected through our after-school coaching clubs. Sunday clubs, they get recommended to us by team managers who've heard about our scheme and they think it's good.
So how does each session develop?
Immediately when the players are on the surface, they've got a start-up practice while their coach is setting up his technical practice. They'll then do their warm-up with the coach, with stretching and ball work in the warm-up, and then they'll have their technical practice, which may be heading, maybe turning, dribbling, shooting, which then they'll go on to a progression from the original practice. They'll progress it 1 or 2 times, and then after that they'll go on to small-sided games which will relate to what they've done in their technical practices. They don't really get tired because they've got loads of enthusiasm, loads of energy, and they've usually come home from a hard day at school with loads of built-up energy to get rid of, and then you come here and then you can hear them. They're off expanding all their energy.
Mike says there are many benefits in having an advanced school.
If we get a player through to the Centre of Excellence and he goes all the way through, he could become a player. That's one possibility. But the biggest aspect, I feel, is the support we'll get from the parents and the players for the club itself. And we get a lot of them coming down to watch Brentford. They're very involved with Brentford. They love everything about it. And, you know, they just want to be involved, basically. And they come to the games. Sometimes we do specials where we take them down and do penalty shootouts with them at half-time. And it just brings people in. And they just get a little bit more involved, and they get a taste of it, and they love it. You know, and when they get to the ground and they see the games, you know, they're just hooked.
The club also runs a number of Saturday morning schools for 5 to 14-year-olds. It's a great way to start the weekend, and they're well attended. Bosco Ochana, who manages this school in Chiswick, says the younger ones can be difficult to organise.
There's one or two you try to demonstrate a skill to one of the 5-year-olds, and they just run off with the ball because they're excited, or they turn around and start chatting, they try to forget what they're doing and sort of things. Really, it's more of lose concentration and then they come back into it. So it's just a mixture of excitement, like running away with the ball, really getting excited because all they want to do is just play matches and don't worry about their skills later on.
There are a number of exceptional players at the club. They're given lots of encouragement, but not too much praise.
At the moment, we're preparing them to go into the advanced camp, which is slightly 2 levels up from what level they're in now. And then hopefully from there, they'll make it into the School of Excellence. Well, at this age, we don't like to tell them that they're really good and they're going into the School of Excellence or anything. Otherwise, when they come to training on a Saturday morning, they don't want to do anything because they think that they're really good, but there's still room for improvement. So we always encourage them to work hard, and that's how they're going to get better.
It's Quid a Kid Day at Griffin Park, so many of these youngsters will be watching the afternoon's game against Preston. There's a suspicion, no more, that some might support other clubs, but there'll only be one team in it when the match kicks off.
Brentford. 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 Brentford.
It's the ultimate test of a fan, how far they'll go to support their team. These fans are boarding a coach that will take them to Preston, more than 200 miles away, where the Bees are playing that afternoon. Most arrive in plenty of time. There's always one latecomer.
I don't know. Probably check that.
Because of the heavy traffic, the journey will take 5.5 hours, an hour more than scheduled. But these are true supporters, people who'll follow their side anywhere, regardless of the distance. It takes a lot to dampen their spirits, especially when things are going so well.
Calling the phrase, new buzz about the place, everything. You see it in the programme, the attitude of the staff at the club, the pitch looks 10 times better, and the attitude of the players, they're just not prepared to lay down. They really do feel as though they've got something to play for, and it comes through to the fans as well. There's a great deal of hope about it.
A few days earlier, the Bees' record unbeaten run of 26 games was ended by Gillingham. There was some disappointment naturally, but the feeling is it could be a weight off the players' minds.
I think losing against Gillingham may have been a blessing in disguise because it's taken a bit of pressure off the team. Going 26 games unbeaten, as you know, teams are playing us down, treating it as more of a cup final.
You had to win somewhere, and playing against Gillingham with Robert Taylor, Paul Smith, Barry Ashby. I had a feeling on the night it was going to happen there, but do you know what I mean? It's going to happen sometime, and 26 games, you can't complain, can you?
But it won't be easy against Preston this afternoon. The score was 2-2 when the sides met at Griffin Park, and the visitors had the better of the game.
Yeah, I'll take a point. Not many teams go there and take a point this season.
It's going to be a tough one. When we played them at home, 2-2, we were lucky to get a draw there. They were the better team. I'd rather, as he said, the run in there, but a draw I'd be happy with today.
The coaches arrive at Deepdale half an hour before kick-off, just in time to catch the players warming up. Around 350 Bees supporters have made the journey to Preston. What they lack in numbers, they make up for in volume. Ron Nodes is away scouting, so first team coach Ray Lewington is in charge.
They're the best side we've played, without doubt. They're also the best side that our scouts have seen, and they've seen more than we've played at the moment. They've seen Wigan, teams like that, and they're all saying to us that it's a fairly good thing that we're getting these 2 games out of the way, because I think they'll be thereabouts at the end. I wouldn't be surprised if they win a division, Preston.
What have you told the players, or have you told them anything different about a game like this? Is it just business as usual, or is there something different now that you've had the first loss from Gillingham?
No, it is really exactly the same. I mean, they mustn't go out there trying to prove a point and run here, there and everywhere. We still got to, stick to the script that we do week in, week out. They've got to keep their heads and just play as they can. If we do that, we have got a fair chance of getting a result. I don't think the game on Tuesday will have no bearing on what happens today.
In the changing room, the players are focusing on the task ahead. Ray calls them together. It's his job to make sure they all know what's expected of them.
Going out in 2, 3 minutes. Sit down. Just have a quiet word. If they take a short corner, then you come off the back post and you take Evo's place. Evo will go out. And the Super League play. Come on, lads. Right, let's just go over the things that we've said before, okay? We go nice and tight. Full-backs push in on the wide midfield player. Everyone else comes round. Distances. Keep them narrow. Or Woody, I want to hear you talking to him all the time. We protect the area in front of our 2 centre-halves when we're against it in their final third or our final third. When we're up against it, we protect that area. In and around the area, we close down quickly, okay? Make sure there's plenty of red and white shirts in there. We get in close to them and smother anything.
Despite the predictions of a draw, the Brentford fans still believe their team can win. And inside 4 minutes, that begins to look like a definite possibility.
There's Owusu. It's in there. Brentford have scored. We've been playing just under 4 minutes. And North End go behind. The ball came in from Owusu, and the scorer for Brentford, number 8, Gavin Marr.
But Preston are one of the best sides in the division, and they fight back.
Can turn in really well. He'll win it back as well for his side, and spreads it for McKenna. In it goes for Macken. Macken turns brilliantly. Oh, Rankin in there. Lays it back for McKenna. Wide for Alexander, who shoots. Oh, again Andy Woodman's there. Brilliant save. And a terrific strike from Graham Alexander. And it's a corner, in fact. That was brilliant football, Andy. Yeah, it was. There's Edwards there, gets a toe poke. Macken will flick it back into the danger zone. It's not cleared though. Oh, real chance. Colin Murdoch. Oh! And that's why he plays at the centre of the defence, Andy, and not in the forward line. Is it going to be one of those days, Andy?
Brentford survive the pressure and make it to half-time with their lead intact. Ray, though, is far from happy with their performance.
Listen, we are playing a suicidal game. Right, what we're doing is we're dropping off, and we're allowing them to have space. Right, then they get space, they can pick any ball they want out. And we've got to start putting pressure on the ball higher up the pitch. Now, anything that's played into the front, into their front, I want us to go all the way in. Scotty, so if your man comes off you, okay, you and your man there, if he comes in,
and the ball looks like it can go in, go all the way, and don't let go until he's played. Okay, we put real pressure on the ball. Don't have to tackle, don't have to win the ball, but at the moment, we go in for a little way, then he gets it, he's getting their little half turns and they're doing it, so we want you to follow him all the way in. They'll close in behind you, hopefully. Box. If Paddy's going up for a header, okay, if Paddy's going up for a header or a tackle, and he starts to go in, your first movement has got to go in now. Okay, at the moment you're staying wide, right, and it's a surprise. Then you're going to get done inside, which you have done twice. So we're moving. A lot of the time when they've got the ball and they're moving the ball, we are standing still. That creates holes. If we don't move, that creates holes.
But what do the fans make of it so far? What would they say if they were in charge?
Get your finger up. Better they could do with that up tempo.
Just keep it going. I mean, we've got to tighten up the back. I think their guy down on the left-hand side is getting far too many crosses in. Just tighten up at the back and just carry on as we're going. We carry on. I don't think they're going to beat us.
In the second half, Preston keep up the pressure and the Bees concede a penalty.
Oh, Westbury, it is! That's what we've been looking for. That was the one, and I've been saying it all season, Andy. Penalties just don't seem to be going our way. Well, this time we have the chance, and it will be Graham Alexander after 14 minutes to put North End level. Alexander against Woodruff. Scores for North End. Brilliant goal. Well taken by Graham Alexander. Preston North End 1, Brentford 1.
Brentford create a number of chances towards the end of the half, but their finishing lets them down.
Oh, and again Jackson goes slipping, and here's a chance for Owosu. And into the hands of Tepi Moilanen. There's a chance here for Brentford, and that had to be a sliding chance from Michael Jackson. It's not cleared yet. Still not cleared.
The game appears to be heading for a draw, but then Preston break from the left.
And he's a real chance for Alex Maffey. He's got a real chance. Oh, he's done it! It's an own goal! North End have done it! 42 and a half minutes played in the second half. It's an own goal. We don't care how it's from, Andy, but it's made the score. Preston North End 2, Brentford 1.
And that's how it ends. It's the Bees' second defeat in a week. The fans are disappointed, but they're not complaining.
And North End have another 3 points in their quest for promotion to Division 1.
At least they create a chance. If they don't put them away, just need someone to put them away. That's all we need at the end of the day.
It's disappointing, but we played well, and that's all I can ask. Last Saturday we played Oxford at home. We won 2-0, but I thought we were awful. We won. And then on Tuesday we lost for the first time in 26 games or 27 games. We played brilliant, and that's all I ask. Play well, and that's all that matters. And like today, we played well.
But it looked like we was going to get a draw out of it. I thought that we scored the goal early on in the first half, and then it was a bit backs against the wall, which you have to expect if you come to places like this. And and then funny enough, just before they scored, we actually started to create a few chances, and you just felt that perhaps we could get a second. And then I think a little bit of disorganisation in a defence where we've had to make changes again caused the goal. But we can't fault the effort. I mean, magnificent. And as long as they show that, we know we're going to get beat in this division. They're still learning, but they're a terrific bunch of players, and this will do them some good, actually.
Yeah, disappointing, but they're a very good side. I mean, I think they're the best side we played. We played them twice now in 11 games, so we got them out of the way. But I'll be very surprised if they're not one of the sides that goes up.
I mean, yeah, I think it shows you how far we've come. We took a point off them at home. I think they'll be in the top 3, and we took a point off them at home. Really unlucky not to take a point away, at their place. So I think it shows that we've come a long way. We've narrowly been beaten by potentially a First Division team. Well, we had a meeting before we left here today, and Lou took the meeting and he expressed that they will never get told off for trying to do something that they've been told to do. If it goes wrong and they're trying to do it, then that's fine. We have to accept that, and because we're asking them to do some strange things and things they've never done before. They're getting it, but doing it on the training field is certainly different than playing in front of 10, 15,000 people against a very good side who are trying to stop you from doing what you've asked them to do. So it is coming second nature to a lot of them, and that's nice. When, you know, certain things happen and you think, oh, blimey, couldn't have done that a year ago. And now it's happening.
Our play today was Spurs 3, Manchester United 1. Let's hear what George Graham thought about it. He's been speaking to Steve Cullen.
The players are unhappy with their performance and the coach is quiet at the start of the journey home. But you can't keep a good team down, and there's another even bigger game on Tuesday.
Disappointed if you didn't get the result, but you can't sulk about it all the way home. As you can probably see, the team spirit is important, and we've got a big game now coming up Tuesday, so if we're going to sulk about it now until Tuesday, we're going to find it hard to raise ourselves, so we've got to just get our head down for the next game and get back into it.
Andy, or Woody as he's known to his teammates, is the joker of the party. As far as he's concerned, everyone is fair game.
It's like Evo. I mean, you're either funny or you're not funny. Evo's not funny and I am, you know, it's just one of those things. You know, he tries to be funny. He's a good player, you know, there's no doubt about that, but, you know, he's just not a funny person. But it helps Evo's not funny, yeah, because it makes me look really funny. I've only played it, right? All the lads bounce jokes with each other, and that's the only way I can play, to be honest. I'm too serious, these guys don't think I'm playing right. Yeah, I think it's important. Team spirit is, I think, a big factor in our results. As you can see, we're a very serious team. To be fair, Gaffer, you're not here today, and that's why we ain't quite, you know, got the results. So you've left the three blind monkeys in charge.
It's obvious that team spirit is high, and all the players agree it's played a key part in their success.
I was here obviously before Mr. Nose came along, and I've seen the changes come through, and the change in personnel has been incredible, but I think we've got a group of lads now all around the same age group, get on well together, and it's definitely, we've bonded together, and the team spirit's there for all to see, really.
But Darren Powell says nothing could be achieved without the support of the fans.
When it's cold and it's up north and have to travel about 4 odd hours, whatever, and you see them singing their lungs out, even when you've lost or whether you've won, you know, it does get to you, and you know, you want to help the team, plus you want to help the sports. You have made the effort to come down there, you know, it just brings out the best in you. Well, it will have to anyway, but you know, when you see the supporters, 400 odd people there, you know, you try for yourself and the team, and obviously for the supporters as well.
Paul Evans has been outstanding as captain, but he wasn't expecting to be offered the job.
Yeah, it was a big surprise, to be fair, to be captain that early, but obviously they must have brought me to do something like that, so just try and get on with it and do my best. There's a lot of them could be captain. I'm lucky enough and privileged enough to be captain, so yeah, but as you see, we all get on very well together, so that helps a lot as well. We had a good start. There's not that much different, really. We played really well, you know. We should have won a couple of more away games than we should have done, you know, Bury away, Cambridge, Burnley, we were unlucky. Today we could have got a point, but no, you know, we've done well. The difference is a little bit better, but all the lads are good players and technically very good as well, so we haven't found it that much hard.
It's good that the players' confidence is high. It'll need to be when they meet league leaders Notts County in a few days' time. They don't know it now, but they're going to beat them 1-0, their best win of the season so far. Brentford's fortunes have been transformed by Ron Nose. When he took over, the club had just been relegated to Division 3. He brought in new coaches and players, and they achieved promotion in their first season together. The championship was decided on the very last day. Brentford or Cambridge, whoever won would claim the title. Despite playing away, the Bees emerged victorious. 1-0 the score, a magnificent performance by the whole team. The Bees had gone top after beating Swansea at home earlier in the week. The Welsh side also had promotion hopes, so on paper were a tricky proposition. But the Bees were at their scintillating best and found the net 4 times, their second highest tally of the season. It was a brilliant display and the celebrations went on long after the final whistle.
It's all changed since Scott Partridge and Evans has come here. They've just been a different side. You know, I mean, that was absolute class tonight.
It feels absolutely fantastic. I mean, in 91-92 we didn't go top till last game of the season, but now we've done it in front of our own fans. And I just hope we can hold out Saturday to win the championship. It's absolutely fantastic.
They seem to show a lot of flair tonight, I thought, and a lot of commitment. And they played very relaxed. So if they can get that into next season's football, I think we might do well.
To actually get somebody come in and put their money where their mouth is and put cash into the team, it's been absolutely fantastic.
We've got a millionaire